Something big is happening in Pakistan's energy world. Brand new rules for rooftop solar have just dropped, and let me tell you, they've kicked up an absolute storm. It's pitting hundreds of thousands of solar-powered homes against the national grid, and the whole debate is really about the future of clean energy in the country. This quote from BR Research just nails it. It perfectly captures that raw, visceral anger that so many solar panel owners are feeling right now. This isn't just some minor policy change. For them, it feels like a financial gut punch. So that's the big question we're going to tackle in this explainer. What exactly has changed? Why on earth did the government do it? And why are so many people, from everyday homeowners to industry experts, so incredibly angry? Let's get into it. Well, it's official. The National Electric Power Regulatory Authority, NEPRA, the body that basically sets all the rules for electricity, has rolled out these new prosumer regulations 2026. And these aren't just an update. They completely throw out the old 2015 rules that really started the whole solar boom in the first place. Okay, at the very heart of this whole fight is a huge shift from something called net metering to net billing. Now, I know they sound similar, but believe me, when it comes to your bank account, the difference is like night and day. So, the old way of doing things, net metering, was awesome because it was so simple. If your solar panels produced more electricity than you were using, you just send the extra units back to the grid. For every single unit you sent out, you got 1 unit of credit back. It was a perfect one-for-one swap. Net billing completely flips that on its head. Now the system treats you like two separate businesses. You're a customer who buys electricity from the grid, and you're also a tiny power producer who sells electricity to the grid. And here is the absolute most important part. The price you buy at is not the price you sell at, not even close. And here's where the financial reality really hits. Under net metering, it was a fair, balanced swap. But with net billing, the whole system is tilted. You have to buy every single unit you get from the grid at the full expensive retail price. But when you sell your extra solar power back, you get paid a much, much lower wholesale price. This big gap is the reason for this entire uproar. So you can probably guess what happened next, right? A massive public outcry. At public hearings, everyone from think tanks to ordinary consumers just let the authorities have it, accusing them of basically trying to kill solar energy on purpose. The critics have some really strong points. They're saying this completely destroys the financial reason to go solar, which is going to tank future investment. They see it as a huge step backward for Pakistan's green energy goals, even contradicting promises made in international climate deals. A lot of folks also felt the whole public hearing process was a sham, and they argue that solar users are being punished for the grid's own deep-rooted problems. Okay, so we've heard from the people who are fuming. But, there are two sides to every story. So let's flip this around. What's the official reason from the regulators for making a change they knew would be this unpopular? It really comes down to this number, 7,000 megawatts. That's how much solar power is estimated to be connected to the grid right now. This isn't a small-time program anymore. The regulators are arguing that solar has hit a critical mass, and the old rules, which were made for a tiny industry, are now actually a danger to the grid's stability. So their official argument has a few parts. First, grid stability. They claim that all this solar power coming on and off the grid is making it unstable. Second, they're framing it as a fairness issue, that everyone should pay the same price for electricity. They're also pointing to other countries like Australia and Vietnam that have made similar changes. And finally, they're saying the old buyback price was basically a massive, unsustainable subsidy that was costing way too much. So we've heard both sides of the argument, but let's get down to brass tacks. What does all of this actually mean for you? The person with solar panels on your roof, or maybe someone who is thinking about getting them? Okay, let's look at the cold, hard numbers because they tell the real story. First, that buyback rate. The money you get for your extra power is plummeting. We're talking from about 24 rupees a unit all the way down to just 9. Ouch. And that has a huge domino effect. The payback period for a new system, it's more than doubled, jumping from a quick 2 to 4 years to a much longer 5 to 8 years. And on top of all that, your contract term is now shorter, down to 5 years from 7. This chart really puts it in perspective. The price you get paid has been absolutely gutted, slashed by more than 60%. See, the old price was based on the average cost of all types of power. The new one is based only on the much cheaper cost of renewables. And that one little change in how they calculate the price is the single biggest financial hit in these new rules. So if you're one of the 400,000 people who already have solar, what happens now? This is really important. Your billing method changes to net billing right away. But, and it's a big but, there's a grandfather clause. You'll keep getting that old, higher price for your electricity until your original 7-year contract runs out. After that, you'll be moved to the new, much lower rate.
And if you're thinking about going solar now, well, the process is definitely more strict. You have to apply to your local power company, which then does a study to see if the grid can even handle it. If you get the okay, you sign a 5-year deal, which then goes all the way to NEPRA for a final green light before your system can even be turned on.
So we're left with this huge question. Is this a painful but necessary fix to manage a growing solar market and keep the grid stable for everyone? Or is it a massive overreaction that pulls the rug out from under Pakistan's clean energy goals, punishing the very people who invested in a greener future? The debate, as you can imagine, is far from over.